Alright guys, welcome back to another Services Auto Adventure video. We got a little maintenance update that came out a few hours ago. I'm a little bit late behind it because I just woke up, so apologies. But still want to talk about the update because we got some exciting stuff coming and some stuff I want to talk about. The first one being a new legendary hero. Look, it's between 3 characters that we know of that have been leaked, and we're going to get them before we get, some other content towards maybe collabs or even, season 3 content, or maybe even new versions of characters. We need to get a new DIANE with our Sacred Treasure, we need to get a new Zeldris, and we also need to get a new Elizabeth. And that is the order of release I think is going to happen, because the way we've been getting characters recently have been Sin being Escanor, then we got Commandment DERIERI, then we got Sin Merlin, then we got a Commandment Esterosa. Makes sense that we get the final Sin out of the Codex being the Sacred Treasure DIANE, and then we get the final Commandment 2 weeks later to follow the pattern we've been in of Sin Commandment, and then we end it off with our lead characters being a new Elizabeth, and then after that we can probably start to get some new collaborations, or we can start to get new version of characters. I do suspect in the future we would get a new armored version of this Escanor, because why wouldn't they? We still need to get Cruel Sun, because that move right there is a Cruel Sun, and he doesn't do that. There are a few characters in the game that have special animations that he don't do, like this one right here. I think was a perfect cube. Yeah, right there, the little click is a perfect cube. Merlin doesn't do that, so it likely means we're going to get a new Merlin in the future that does perfect cube with that exact animation. That's how Magic's going to work out. So yeah, the character I think is going to come is probably DIANE, mainly because, once again, Sin Commandment. Who I would like to see is probably Elizabeth, I'd say, because if you look at the patterns, not that they say there's a pattern, but Esterosa has a connection towards Elizabeth. We also have a connection towards DERIERI, who does make an appearance in this patch as well. So yeah, or Zeldris, I would hope, but I do think it's probably going to be DIANE. I will say, DIANE is going to be very interesting to see how to make her good, right? Because every character's come out recently have been obviously very, very good. If you look at the top row right here, they've all been good. Merlin is a bit boring, but she is very, very good. And DIANE is leaked to be a tank character. I should expect from probably just DIANE, she's always going to be a tank character because she is big, just big equals tank. But he did make Esterosa a tank character, so to get back-to-back tanks would be not great. But also, he was leaked to be a DPS character. So yeah, even though DIANE was leaked to be a tank character, she could come out and be something completely different. I do hope, if anything, she's a debuffer, because we have yet to get a debuffer in the game for this release. It's just been Mon Speed, and in terms of like the full Sin team, we have our supporters, we have our DPS, we have our tanks with DIANE. We've yet to get a debuffer for the Sin team, and I thought that would have been Merlin, but if they really wanted to, they definitely could still do that for DIANE. And once again, I kind of spoke about it a little bit, but like Merlin does a knockback, and what's good with knockback? A bind. Having like a massive what do you call DIANE's ultimate? Mother Catastrophe, I think they call it. I can't remember what it's actually called, but she does a massive slam down. Doing that and like stunning the whole field up by binding them after being knocked back by a Merlin could be pretty sick. So I can see DIANE being a debuffer. That's kind of what I hope she actually is, because that will make her a little bit exciting. Because if she is a tank character, it can be kind of boring, because tanks aren't interesting. Obviously, Esterosa was interesting because he was a tank character that actually fought back with his full counter. But I don't see them doing that for DIANE. Like, what can he give her to be a good DPS or good tank DPS? Who knows, right? And in terms of being a tank, we already have tank DIANE, and she's got immortality. It's hard to beat that unless she comes out with the Veil buff. And if she does, then we already have tank Esterosa, who's kind of better than Veil buff because he fights back and actually attacks. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see who it actually is. You lot let me know in the comments down below who you want to see between those 3 characters, and we'll see you on Monday. And then, of course, coming along with this update, and once again, the devs constantly surprise me with these advent boss battles. DERIERI is getting one, which obviously, if you don't know, that means when she is the active advent boss battle, you can buy 1 copy of her each week, which I'm currently missing 2 away from getting her to Next Awakening, so I'll definitely love that. I think I get the final talent. I do, yeah, the final potential. Plus, once again, just always nice to get 3 copies of new characters, and it's surprising, I will say, because once they changed it towards, obviously, who was the first character? It was Manascula, right? I thought they could do the worst commandments, because why not, right? Why give away 3 copies of Mon Speed because he's actually good? Why give 3 copies away of DERIERI? She just came out and she's actually good. I thought the devs wouldn't do that. I thought they'd go towards the weaker commandments like Fraudrin or Drool, which Drool wouldn't be too bad either, but like, or Grey Road. You think they'll give away the, or you think they'll do it off the worst commandments because they have to give away 4 of the 5 copies of them for free if they do become an admin boss battle. So yeah, to see DERIERI right after Munspeed was obviously very, very good is actually surprising. So big up towards Netmarble. That's a good addition. Plus, I'm gonna love to see the actual animation, because we saw with the Munspeed one, if we just go into the game, I'm sure all of you have seen it by now, but you know, you have to appreciate a little bit, is the animations change of the characters. So, you know, Munspeed does a massive cruel sun. It's not actually a cruel sun, but it's like a huge nuke, right? Which would be very cool to see a Munspeed in the future to have that ability. You can imagine how broken that will be and how big it will be as well, right? But yeah, he's got all these like new animations that obviously other Munspeed doesn't have. So I do like seeing them. And in terms of DERIERI, like, I want to see what she has, because she's probably gonna have like an injection, her little buff skill she does, and like Grand Cross or some other moves. I'm looking forward towards it. Okay, and the next thing coming is going to be the base defense phase 2. If you weren't paying attention with the recent updates that came out like 2 weeks ago now, is we got an update towards our base defense. They haven't actually added it yet, but it told us that something was coming. And you can see right here, it's base defense phase 1, and then you have phase 2 and then phase 3. Obviously right now we are only getting phase 2, but that does mean you have stuff planned for phase 3, but that might not come for a very long time, because as I'm sure some of you are aware, we have the hell difficulty, which has been in since the beta, and we've yet to get the hell difficulty, mainly because the nightmare is still obviously very, very hard, and we have to get to a certain point in the game where, I mean, if Nightmare's kind of hard, how is hell going to be, right? You know, you imagine it's going to be very, very difficult. And with all the stuff that come out, it's crazy that you haven't even added it yet. But yeah, base defense part 2 or phase 2, how is it going to work? I have honestly no idea, which is kind of why I'm excited to see how it's going to actually play out. I assume if you beat phase 1, you can then start to do phase 2. And you get more rewards, because we did see, if I just do a little start right now, we have active effects, right? And this was kind of weird to me, because the active effects was something that it's irrelevant, right? Like, when you do your runs, you normally get 1 buff for 1 turn. Sure, it's nice to see what actually got in case you missed it, but that to me is telling me that in phase 2 we might actually get more active buffs that would be more beneficial. You can imagine something like a dungeon, like, I think what it's called, the labyrinth for like Grand Cross, where every like 10 waves or 5 stages you get like an active buff, like, oh, humans get like 10% more basic stats, and you know, we could see stuff like that for like these phases, and it actually might make it more interesting. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Also, expansion towards stages and stories, so they're gonna be adding more actual hard and also normal stages. Current right now, am I near the end? Is 4K the highest? It is. Okay, so I'm actually defeated. Yeah, I'm actually not struggling. I've been alternate overnight, so I haven't actually figured out why I've lost this boss. Oh, the veil buff, fair enough, right? So yeah, I'll just have to bring someone who can buff remove, or just work on my ordering a little bit better. So yeah, that is it for kind of in terms of content coming. In terms of actual events, we are having a 7-day relay mission event, to where we have to complete challenges over a course of 7 days, and it normally gives out 2 to 3 legendaries, and if anything, they might even give us some of the special tickets too, which have been slowly starting to come into the game, where you can get the newer characters, which would be nice too. Obviously 2 summon type events, 1 being a new character, 2 being whatever rerun they decide to do. New character, obviously always exciting. New DERIERI, which I'm very surprised they did, because that means we get 4 to 5 copies of, right? How long is October or no, November? Yeah, we're getting 4 to 5 copies. And in the base defense part 2, I'm excited to see how that actually works out. And in terms of other stuff, did we get a Dev Notes last month? September. Yeah, we didn't get one for October, so I'm expecting some dev notes very, very soon. Granted, the stuff they said in these dev notes, they haven't all fully come out. I mean, obviously, these have too. But I think at the bottom, they talked about the coin shop, right? And has yet to be added. So I do imagine that we're going to get some dev notes this month or very, very soon that will talk about, you know, the coin shop or the character shop, the hero shop, where you can trade and buy, you know, dupes of characters. Like you see right now, I have like hundreds of these characters. I can trade up to buy like legendaries or whatever I want to buy in the game. And yeah, that'd be exciting. So guys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.